If you're not catching as many bass as you'd like to be while you're out fishing, it might not be your bait of choice that's the issue. It could be your habits. In this video, I'm going to break down 5 habits that are destroying your success. The first one has to do with bank fishermen. I see this all the time. They just walk right up to the edge and announce their presence. I'm here! All you're doing when you do that is spooking any fish that might have been in the immediate area. In this example, I'd be standing somewhere off the screen down here for my first few casts. And I'd put my first cast right in front of that point right there. Then probably about here and here before I make my way to the edge and get as much of the cover parallel to shore as I can. Habit number 2. We all love casting to the shoreline to every piece of cover it has to offer. Sometimes so much that we end up spending our whole trip focused on doing just that. And that's fine and dandy when you're catching them. But when you're a couple hours in and have no fish to talk about, you can't forget about what's in the water right behind you. Sure, there may be a fish or two in your confidence areas, but learning to adapt to a lack of a better term, a dead shoreline, and figuring out what your pond has to offer offshore will open up a whole new way for you to change how your day goes on the water every time you go out. The third habit, when the bass aren't biting, it's very easy to get locked into doing the same retrieve cast after cast. It usually ends up being the good old chuck and wind as you see here. Try to be mindful of this, and if you catch yourself doing it, or even see your buddy doing it, to change it up to try to trigger a reaction bite. If you're throwing something like a spinnerbait, chatterbait, or a swim bait, add some reel and rod twitches during your retrieve. It can change the outcome of your day drastically. Another retrieve to try is a stop and go, making either a crankbait rise for a moment, a whopper plopper stop, or a sinking bait fall for a bit, which can also trigger a bite. So habit number 4. I struggled with this for years, and is being afraid to throw bigger baits such as this 6-inch cull shad. I was out fishing the other day and I wasn't getting bit on anything. I was throwing a jig, a chatterbait, even a 5-inch version of this, and a whopper plopper. So after like an hour and a half of no bites, I finally said, screw it, I'm going to tie on the 6-inch cull shad and just go for one big bite. So this is what I tied on, and to my surprise, I started to catch fish. And they were all small ones, like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. One of them even had a belly that was like smaller than the swim bait itself. And that fishing trip definitely changed the way I thought about throwing these 6-inch baits, just because of the size of the fish that I was catching. And just to show you a little something, I used to throw this spinnerbait all the time. And I've even caught yellow perch with it. And to hold it up to the 6-inch cull shad, the size difference is minimal to me. The moral of the story is, just stop being afraid to throw these things. They'll catch you the same bass that you're catching on your confidence baits already, with the bonus drawing power to maybe one of your hook sets being the fish of a lifetime. And the last habit for this video is not adapting to the day. Whether it's not picking up on what the fish are telling you, like when I tied on that 6-inch cull shad and started catching fish, they were telling me they wanted a bigger meal that day. Just because your favorite lure was working yesterday doesn't mean it will be today. But it can also be as specific as that lure will work today but with a different retrieve. If you're out there and you're not getting bites, change something. Like if you were frogging, put a smaller frog on. If you were throwing a whopper plopper and they're just swiping at it, try a walking bait. If you're throwing a chatterbait and all of a sudden the wind picks up and it starts raining, try a spinnerbait, or vice versa. I hope this video helps you catch more bass when the struggle gets real for you out there. I've made all of these mistakes and I'm sure I will again. And if you want a little more encouragement on throwing the bigger baits, I shot a video right here, or if you want to know the best pond baits to use, I'll see you in this one.